Welcome to my channel. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to subscribe and like. Rain lashed down like razor blades, howling through the rusted metal structures of Outpost Horizon, a forgotten trading hub on the planet Clintor 7, where the boundaries between galaxies blurred into insignificance. Captain Jake Sullivan, a grizzled veteran of the United Earth Defense Force, stood under a makeshift canopy, wiping water from his brow. His piercing blue eyes narrowed, straining to identify the flickering lights approaching through the storm from the horizon. "Not a supply ship," he muttered, his voice low and steely, his hand instinctively brushing the pulse rifle slung across his back. His shoulders tense beneath his silver-gray uniform, the scars of years in combat etched into the rugged lines of his frame. Beside him, Lieutenant Veyra, a Sylari warrior, stood motionless, her pale purple skin glinting under the outpost's emergency lights. Her sleek black armor hugged her form, reflecting the pulsing red glow like a deadly warning. Her platinum hair was tied tightly back, revealing a sharp-featured face with blazing golden eyes that shone like twin flames. "Pirates," Veyra confirmed, her voice carrying a melodic yet icy cadence, like wind whistling through the frozen peaks of her homeworld. "Darkstar Coalition, judging by their formation." Jake nodded, lips pressed tight. "Lucky us, just the two of us against a pirate fleet." Veyra drew her energy sword from its sheath, the blade humming softly as its blue glow illuminated her face. "Then we'll make them regret it, Captain." The first pirate ship touched down with a bone-rattling boom, its metal landing struts sinking deep into the mud. Jake and Veyra crouched behind a massive cargo crate, watching as the ship's hatch opened, disgorging a dozen heavily armed raiders. "I count 12, Jake whispered, checking his rifle's energy levels. "Not counting whoever's on the second ship." Veyra's lips curled into a razor-sharp smile. "I've faced worse odds." "Alone?" Jake asked, raising an eyebrow. Veyra's golden eyes flicked to him, a playful spark dancing within. "No, but I'm with you this time, so I'm a bit worried." Before Jake could retort, a barrage of energy bolts slammed into their position, sparks flying from the crate. Jake returned fire, dropping two pirates with precise shots to the chest. Veyra moved like a tempest, her sword carving lethal arcs through the air, felling three more before they could raise their weapons. "Not bad for an Earthling," Jake called out, impressed by her speed. "Save the compliments for when we're still breathing, human." Veyra shot back, dodging a clumsy swing and dispatching another attacker. The second ship landed, doubling the pirate numbers. Jake cursed, reloading his rifle. "We need to fall back to the command center, activate the defense turrets from there." They fought their way through the outpost, moving with a synergy that felt like years of partnership, though it was their first mission together. Jake's tactical mind perfectly complemented Veyra's bold combat style. By the time they reached the command center, half the pirate force lay behind them, dead or wounded. Jake slammed his hand onto the security console. "Override system lockdown. Captain Jake Sullivan, United Defense Force, authorization code Bravo 9 Delta." The outpost's defenses roared to life, automated turrets rising from hidden compartments, unleashing energy beams that tore through the pirate ranks. "Won't hold them long," Veyra warned, inspecting a gash on her side where an energy bolt had grazed her armor. "Their ships have heavy ordnance." As if on cue, an explosion rocked the command center. The lights flickered out, plunging them into darkness save for the faint glow of emergency panels. "They hit the power core," Jake growled. "We gotta move. There's an emergency bunker near the western perimeter." They slipped out through a maintenance hatch, the rain still pounding relentlessly. As they navigated the darkened outpost, an ambush pinned them against a wall. An energy bolt struck Veyra's chest, sending her staggering. Jake neutralized the threat with 3 rapid shots, then rushed to her side. "I'm fine," Veyra insisted, though her breathing grew labored. "The armor absorbed most of it." Jake supported her, guiding them to a temporary military tent near the bunker. Inside, Veyra's breaths became increasingly strained. "I need," she gasped, clutching her armored chest. "The armor, it's constricting. The blast damaged the pressure system." Jake checked the tent's entrance, ensuring they were secure. You sure? Veyra nodded, her platinum hair spilling over her face. The latches are at the back. I can't reach them. Her golden eyes, usually so sharp, betrayed a flicker of vulnerability. I need your help, Captain. I can't breathe. Jake hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Guide me. Veyra turned, her voice tight. Release them in order, starting at the neck then down. Jake located the first latch at her nape, hidden beneath intricate armor plating. As he disengaged it, a soft hiss sounded, like a seal breaking. This isn't standard military gear, Jake remarked, working on the latches along her spine. Each required a different motion, twist, pull, press, like solving a complex puzzle. It's not, Veyra admitted between ragged breaths. Sylari combat armor is personalized, custom forged. When the third latch opened, a glowing purple node appeared in the armor's lining. What's this? Careful, Veyra cautioned. That's a neural interface node. Don't disconnect it yet. Jake frowned. Neural interfaces were rare, exorbitantly expensive, far beyond a lieutenant's standard kit. This tech's way above regulation, Veyra urged. Release the final latch first. I'll explain when I can breathe. When the last latch gave way, the back plate loosened. Veyra drew a deep breath, her body visibly relaxing. Now the interface nodes, she instructed. Rotate counterclockwise to disengage each one. Jake carefully disconnected the nodes, and as the final one released, the upper armor fell away, revealing Veyra's pale purple skin, adorned with pulsating purple bioluminescent patterns that flickered in time with her heartbeat. Jake quickly averted his gaze, cheeks flushing. You could have warned me, he stammered, fixing his eyes on the tent wall. Veyra turned, her expression one of genuine surprise. Warned you about what? Her glowing patterns were bright enough to highlight her curiosity. That you're not wearing anything underneath. Realization dawned in Veyra's eyes, followed by a mischievous grin. Oh, the human modesty custom. I forgot. Sylari don't separate armor from the skin layer. It's directly linked to the body for optimal neural interfacing. Jake cleared his throat. Fine. But explain why a lieutenant's carrying top-secret military tech. These data modules aren't standard issue. Veyra's demeanor turned serious as she retrieved a small device from an armor compartment. Activating it, she projected a holographic symbol, a radiant arc encircling a double helix structure. I'm not just a lieutenant. I'm with the Sylari Science Division. This armor holds research data on a new energy core. That's why the pirates attacked. They weren't after the outpost. They were after me. Jake assessed the situation instantly. You're a high-value target. We need to get you and that data off this planet. Veyra shook her head, wincing in pain. Can't. The armor's propulsion system is fried. I can't wear it again without tech support. The storm raged outside, creating a strangely intimate atmosphere within the tent. The glow of Veyra's patterns cast light across Jake's face, making him acutely aware of how close they were. When will your people come looking? He asked, trying to stay professional. Standard protocol is 72 hours after loss of contact. Veyra replied, her golden eyes studying him with undisguised curiosity. Humans are fascinating, Captain Sullivan. Your physiological responses, blood rushing to your face, pupils dilating, breathing quickening. Sylari don't blush. Jake gave a dry chuckle. Call me Jake. And is that professional observation or personal interest? Veyra leaned closer, her patterns flaring brighter. My division studies interspecies compatibility, biological, technological, and other aspects. Her words hung in the air, laced with implication. Jake felt the tension between them, not just from the external danger but from something deeper. Valuable research, he said, his voice rougher than intended. A rare field opportunity shouldn't be wasted. Veyra replied, her hand brushing his arm, warm and unexpected. Outside, the storm grew fiercer, but neither paid it much mind. Is this part of your mission? Jake asked, though he was already leaning toward her. Veyra's patterns blazed. No, this is entirely extracurricular. As their lips met, Jake felt a strange familiarity mixed with thrilling alienness. Her skin radiated a comforting warmth, and where their bodies touched, her patterns glowed like stars. Jake awoke to the soft purple glow of Veyra's patterns. She lay beside him, her markings pulsing gently, illuminating the tense interior. The storm had passed, leaving an eerie calm broken only by their breathing. The previous night had been unexpected, wonderful, but filled with clumsy discoveries and astonishing compatibility between their species. Veyra's scientific curiosity had blended with Jake's adventurous spirit, turning the moment into something both tender and fierce. He watched her, noting how much calmer she seemed compared to the warrior he'd fought alongside. "You're staring pretty hard," Veyra murmured, eyes still closed. Jake grinned. "Thought you were asleep. Sylari need less rest than humans," she said, opening her eyes, their golden hue sparkling. "But your kind requires significant recovery time. Complaint or observation?" Jake asked, propping himself on an elbow. Veyra laughed. "Data collection. Though I must say, humans compensate for physical limitations with creativity." Before Jake could respond, a beep sounded from his uniform. He grabbed the communicator. "Sullivan here. Captain, this is Commander Reynolds. We received your distress signal. ETA to your position is 8 hours. Sitrep." Jake glanced at Veyra, who was gathering her armor pieces. "Outpost compromised. Lieutenant Veyra and I are temporarily secure. Be advised, pirates may return." An explosion interrupted, shaking the ground. Veyra sprang up, wrapping a thermal blanket around herself, peering through a slit in the tent. "They're back. 4 ships, heavier firepower than yesterday." Jake keyed the communicator. "Situation's changed. Pirates are hitting us with a larger force. Request immediate extraction." "Negative, Captain. We're still 7 hours out. Hold your position." Jake swore, turning to Veyra. "Can your armor function?" She was already reconnecting the neural interfaces. "Partially. Weapons and propulsion are down, but defensive systems are intact." Jake checked his rifle. "Only 15 shots left. Gotta make them count." A nearby explosion rocked the tent. Through a tear in the fabric, Jake saw pirates advancing, using damaged structures as cover. "We need to move. This tent's a sitting target." Veyra nodded, checking a small energy pistol retrieved from her armor. "There are maintenance tunnels beneath the outpost. We can use them to flank." They slipped out just as an energy bolt tore through the tent's front. Staying low, they dashed to a hidden tunnel entrance beneath the rubble. Jake provided cover while Veyra manually unlocked the hatch. Once inside, Veyra's patterns glowed just enough to light the way. "Convenient," Jake remarked, gesturing to her markings. "Evolutionary adaptation," Veyra explained as they navigated the narrow passage. "Sylari ancestors lived in deep caves before reaching the surface." Jake teased. "So you're part cave dweller?" Veyra shot him a playful glance. "And humans evolved from primates. Does that make you part monkey?" They paused at a junction, hearing pirates rummaging above. Veyra's tone turned serious. "Jake, if we don't make it..." He touched her hand, feeling the hard armor but recalling the warm skin beneath. "We'll make it." She shook her head, her patterns flickering as if embarrassed. "Last night wasn't just curiosity. Sylari biology is complex. When we connect with someone, there can be consequences." Jake frowned. "Consequences like what?" Before she could answer, an explosion shook the tunnel, dust and debris raining down. "Later," Veyra promised, pressing forward. "Right now, we need to show those pirates that attacking a human and a Sylari was their biggest mistake." The maintenance tunnels snaked beneath Outpost Horizon like veins, their dim emergency lights blending with the pulsating purple glow of Veyra's bioluminescent patterns. Jake followed close behind, impressed by her confident navigation through the labyrinth, despite her claim of arriving at the outpost just days before him. "You know these tunnels pretty well," he remarked as they paused at a junction. Veyra tightened her grip on her energy pistol. I memorized the schematics before the mission. Standard procedure for someone carrying what I'm carrying. She checked her weapon's charge. We need to reach the comm center. If we can tap into the pirates' ship frequencies, we might figure out their plan. They moved silently toward a maintenance ladder leading to a tunnel hatch. Veyra's patterns dimmed as she focused, listening for sounds above. Clear, she whispered, starting the climb. The comm center was eerily quiet, its equipment still humming but abandoned amid the pirate raid. Jake secured the door while Veyra dove into the main console, her fingers flying across the controls with astonishing proficiency. Any luck hacking their comms? Jake asked, keeping his rifle trained on the door. Done, Veyra replied. Their encryption's as flimsy as a child's puzzle. A holographic display flickered to life, revealing a log of messages. Veyra's golden eyes widened, her patterns flashing rapidly, a warning sign Jake was beginning to recognize. What's wrong? He asked. These aren't ordinary pirates, she said, her voice taut. They're mercenaries working for Ecliptica Corporation, an intergalactic weapons manufacturer. They're after my energy core data. Jake frowned. Why? This data could power clean energy for developing planets, Veyra explained. But in Ecliptica's hands, it had become a planet-killer weapon. She froze as a new message appeared. Her patterns pulsed fiercely, almost angrily. What now? Jake pressed. The mercenary leader, Veyra said, her voice icy. Kale. He was my research partner. And my former lover, before he betrayed the Sylari Science Division, selling preliminary data to Ecliptica. I thought he died in an explosion trying to steal the prototype. Jake placed a hand on her shoulder, feeling the faint tremor beneath her armor. I'm sorry. Veyra turned, her gaze a mix of vulnerability and resolve. He's why I was sent here with the completed research. We have to get it to the Galactic Science Council before Ecliptica weaponizes it. Her patterns flared where his hand touched her. I didn't expect to find you. Distraction, huh? Jake asked, injecting a touch of humor. A pleasant one, she admitted, her lips curving. The console beeped with an incoming transmission. Veyra hesitated, then accepted it. A holographic face appeared, a male Sylari with deep purple skin, angular patterns sharp as daggers, and cold, piercing eyes. Veyra, Kale greeted, his voice smooth but emotionless. I knew you'd tap our comms. Kale, Veyra replied, her tone glacial. Still doing dirty work for corporations instead of serving our people. He gave a faint, mocking laugh. Our people are short-sighted. Ecliptica sees the true potential of this research. For dominance. For destruction. Veyra snapped back. Kale's gaze shifted to Jake. I see you've found a new plaything, consorting with humans. How pedestrian. Jake felt Veyra tense but noted her outward calm. He'd seen enough prejudice in the ranks to recognize Kale's divisive tactic. This man has more honor than your entire life combined, Kale, Veyra said, her patterns blazing defiantly. Kale's eyes narrowed. You have 1 hour to surrender the data. After that, we level the outpost and pick through the wreckage. The transmission cut off. Silence settled heavily. Jake broke it. Charming ex-boyfriend. Veyra let out a bright, unexpected laugh, her patterns shimmering. Humans and their knack for humor in danger. It's refreshing. One of our strengths. Jake agreed, checking his communicator's timer. Rescue's 6 hours out. We need a plan. Veyra grew pensive. Kale always underestimated humans, dismissing you as low-tech primitive. We can use that. How? I'll be the bait, pretend to surrender. He'll want to gloat, especially in front of you. Jake shook his head. Too risky. If he gets the data. He can't, Veyra assured, touching her armored chest. The data core is integrated with my neural interface, locked to my biosignature. If he tries to extract it, it'll detonate, wiping out everything within 15 meters. Jake's brow furrowed. Your plans to threaten suicide? No. She stepped closer. The plan is I get close to his ship, disable its systems, while you sabotage their weapons. Her patterns flickered, signaling an emotion Jake recognized as longing. But first, there's a Sylari tradition I'd like to honor. A sharing of strength before battle. Jake raised an eyebrow. We're short on time. Veyra's smile turned mischievous. Then we'll have to be efficient, won't we, Captain? Their plan was simple but perilous. Veyra would approach Kale's ship, feigning surrender, while Jake sabotaged the armory. They had 45 minutes until Kale's deadline. As they left the comms center, Veyra suddenly stumbled, bracing herself against the console. You okay? Jake asked, concern flaring. Just dizzy, she replied, blinking rapidly. Her patterns pulsed erratically, flaring brightly, then fading in waves. As they moved through the tunnels, Veyra's condition worsened. She stopped twice, leaning against the wall as dizziness hit. The third time, Jake halted firmly. Something's wrong. Is it yesterday's injury? Veyra shook her head. No, it's... She hesitated, her golden eyes meeting his with confusion and dawning realization. It can't be. What can't be? Sylari biology is complex, she began, echoing her earlier words. When we connect with a compatible partner, our bodies can adapt rapidly. But interspecies compatibility is exceedingly rare. With humans, it's impossible. Jake froze. You mean you're... I'm not certain, Veyra admitted, placing a hand on her abdomen, her patterns glowing vividly beneath her palm. But my body's redirecting energy, adapting to something new. Jake ran a hand through his hair, processing. Is it dangerous for you? His worry caught Veyra off guard. Not dangerous, just uncomfortable. Actually, I feel stronger. She raised her hand, her patterns flaring, illuminating the tunnel. That's new, she murmured, studying her arm curiously. Jake gave a dry laugh. Built-in spotlight. Veyra smiled. Humans, always finding practical applications. So we might have created something? Jake asked, still reeling. It's unprecedented, Veyra confirmed. No recorded cases of human Sylari hybrids exist. Genetic differences should prevent it. A beep from Jake's communicator snapped them back to reality. 30 minutes left. We'll deal with this later, Veyra decided, her voice sharpening. Right now, we handle Kale. You sure you're up for this? Jake asked. If you're changing. Veyra cut him off, lifting a large debris fragment that previously required both of them. I'm not just up for it. I'm stronger. Jake couldn't argue. Fine, but we tweak the plan. No direct confrontation with Kale. I'll take him out. Jake. Veyra started, but he was firm. No negotiation. You're the only one who can access the data. Strategy is to protect you. Veyra studied him, then nodded. Logical, though I suspect your motives aren't entirely strategic. Jake's lips twitched. Sue me for caring. I don't know what suing is, Veyra replied. But your protective instincts, they're endearing. At the junction where they parted, Veyra took his hand. Jake, if this is what I think, if we've created a new life, what does that mean to you? Humans have different views on reproduction and family. The question caught Jake off guard. In the middle of a deadly mission, she was asking about the future. It means, he said carefully, whatever happens with Kale or Ecliptica, we'll figure it out together. Veyra's patterns blazed, and she pressed her forehead to his, a Sylari gesture of affection. Later, she agreed. For now, let's show Kale the mistake of crossing a human Sylari pair. But the plan unraveled almost immediately. Jake had barely reached the armory when Kale's voice boomed over the outpost's intercom. I know what's happening, Veyra. My scanners detected your biological changes the moment you accessed our comms. Jake went rigid. How did Kale know? Your human accomplished what no Sylari could. Kale continued, his tone dripping with contempt. Creating life with you. Fascinating. The research potential. Through his earpiece, Jake heard Veyra's sharp intake of breath. Stick to the plan, he whispered. He's trying to bait you. Terms have changed. Kale declared. Surrender yourself, Veyra, along with your condition. The energy data is now secondary. Ecliptica will find the biological marvel you carry far more valuable. Jake's blood ran cold. The thought of Veyra and their unborn child in Ecliptica's hands made him grip his weapon tighter. Over the earpiece, Veyra spoke, her voice eerily calm. He's redirecting his forces. They're converging on me. Fall back, Jake ordered. Abort the plan. Too late. They've spotted me. The sound of energy fire erupted, punctuated by Veyra's strained efforts. Jake abandoned his position, sprinting toward her coordinates. He found her surrounded by 5 mercenaries, her patterns blazing as she fought with superhuman speed and strength. 2 lay unconscious at her feet. As Jake watched, Veyra grabbed one by the throat, hurling him into another with enough force to send both sprawling. Impressive! Kale's voice rang out as he emerged from a ruined storage bay. The tall Sylari's deep purple skin and jagged, cold glowing patterns exuded menace. Your biological changes have enhanced your capabilities. Veyra's eyes narrowed. Stay back, Kale. Or what? He smirked. You'll kill your ex-lover in front of the Science Council? Jake stepped forward, rifle leveled. She won't have to. I will. Kale regarded Jake, assessing him coldly. The progenitor. More intriguing up close. His gaze flicked between them. Do you realize what you've created? The first human Sylari hybrid in history. We've tried crossbreeding for centuries and failed. We didn't create a science experiment, Jake growled. We created a child. Kale's laugh was chilling. How naive. This isn't about family, human. It's about evolution, genetic breakthroughs, profit. Veyra countered. Profit like what Ecliptica's paying you to capture me? Or do you get a cut of the bioweapons they'll make from my child? The remaining mercenaries regrouped, weapons trained on Jake and Veyra. Kale gestured. The Council will merely study your child, catalog its genes, run tests. Ecliptica will unlock its true potential. Jake edged closer to Veyra, his mind racing for a way out. They were outnumbered and outgunned, and Veyra's condition made her both powerful and vulnerable. Suddenly, a distant explosion shook the ground. Everyone turned toward the sound. Rescue! Jake realized, relief flooding him. 5 hours early! Kale's expression darkened. Take them now! He ordered. But then, an unexpected twist unfolded. Veyra's patterns erupted with blinding intensity, not only temporarily blinding the mercenaries but emitting an energy pulse that disrupted their electronic gear. She grabbed Jake's hand, pulling him toward a nearby tunnel hatch. Trust me, she whispered, opening the door and shoving him through. He hit the metal floor hard, Veyra tumbling after. Above, the mercenaries shouted in chaos. That's new, Jake remarked as they ran through the tunnel. Adrenaline response, Veyra explained, panting. The pregnancy is amplifying my defensive abilities. They surfaced near the Outpost's small spaceport, where a lone shuttle stood intact. Veyra rushed to the control panel. What are you doing? Jake asked as she powered up the ship. Getting us off this planet, she replied, eyes fixed on the screens. Your rescue team will handle Kale. But we can't stay. Why? Veyra paused, her golden eyes meeting his. Because your commander will report to the Defense Force. They'll contact the Sylari Science Council. And the Council will order me back to Scylla for observation. Jake's stomach sank. They'll want to study the pregnancy. Or worse. They'll terminate it, Veyra said bluntly. A human Sylari hybrid is too unpredictable. The Council prioritizes science over individual rights. Jake's anger flared. They can't force you. They can and will, Veyra said, continuing to activate the shuttle. Unless we're gone when they arrive. Her words hit him like a punch. You're asking me to desert, to abandon my duty, my career. Veyra's hands stilled, her patterns flickering uncertainly. I'm asking you to choose, she said softly. I can go alone, raise our child far from both our peoples until they can't interfere. Or you can come with me. Outside, the sounds of combat grew closer, Earth forces engaging the mercenaries. Jake's duty was clear: report in, defend the outpost, complete the mission. But looking at Veyra, her patterns pulsing where their child was growing, he knew his priorities had shifted. How fast is this ship? He asked. Veyra's patterns glowed with hope. Fast enough to reach the outer rim before anyone notices we're gone. Jake slid into the co-pilot's seat. Then let's see what she's got. 6 months passed in a blur. The Helion mining colony on the outer rim was the perfect hideout. Nestled in the flank of an extinct volcano, the settlement was a melting pot of species and cultures, all seeking to slip the grasp of galactic authorities. No one questioned the Earthman and his pregnant Sylari partner. Jake stood by the window of their small apartment, gazing at the twin moons hovering over the volcanic landscape. Behind him, Veyra moved in the kitchen, her rounded belly prominent beneath a loose tunic instead of her armor. The moons are unusually bright tonight, he remarked, turning to watch her prepare dinner. Veyra looked up, her platinum hair now longer, woven into a braid. Locals say it's a good omen for childbirth. Her patterns, increasingly vivid throughout the pregnancy, pulsed with a cheerful rhythm. Though I doubt their superstitions apply to human Sylari hybrids. Jake stepped closer, wrapping his arms around her waist, resting his hand on her belly. The baby responded instantly, a strong kick against his palm. Still a fighter, he murmured into her neck. Like both parents, Veyra agreed, leaning into him. Her patterns flared where their skin touched, the reaction growing stronger as the pregnancy progressed. Their life had settled into a rhythm. Jake worked as a security consultant for the mines, while Veyra set up a small lab to monitor the pregnancy, using equipment they'd slowly acquired through discreet channels. It wasn't the life they dreamed of, but it was theirs, built together. What do you think about names? Jake asked, helping her carry the meal to a table by the window. I've studied human naming conventions, Veyra replied, sitting down. They're diverse. Sylari names often reflect lineage and scientific prowess. So no baby Sullivan, then? Jake teased. Veyra's patterns flickered like a laugh. My lineage is Veldar. But I think a simpler name suits a child of two worlds. Their conversation was cut short by a pained groan from Veyra. Her patterns flared brightly, then dimmed alarmingly. She clutched her belly, face contorted. Veyra! Jake rushed to her. What's wrong? I don't. She paused, another wave of pain hitting. Something's off. The baby's energy is fluctuating. Jake guided her to the bed, his mind racing. They'd prepared for complications, knowing this unprecedented pregnancy could be dangerous, but the crisis still chilled him. Veyra activated a medical scanner beside the bed, trembling as she passed it over her abdomen. A holographic display showed data Jake couldn't parse, but it clearly terrified her. The hybrid cellular structure is destabilizing, she explained, her scientific instincts overriding the pain. The human and Sylari genes are clashing. What does that mean for the baby? For you? Veyra's golden eyes met his, revealing raw fear for the first time. Without intervention, we could lose the child, and the biochemical feedback could severely harm me. Jake felt the floor drop out from under him. After everything, the battle at the outpost, fleeing both their peoples, building a life together, the thought of losing Veyra and their child was unbearable. What intervention? Tell me what to do. Veyra's patterns flickered weakly as another wave of pain hit. It requires advanced medical expertise. Sylari genetic stabilization techniques. She gripped his hand tightly. Only one person I know can help. Jake's blood ran cold. Don't say Kale. No, Veyra said. Dr. Celis Varen, my former mentor. She specializes in Sylari reproductive biology. She'll report us to the council. Jake protested. Veyra winced, her patterns fading for a terrifying few seconds before glowing faintly again. Maybe not. Celis clashed with the council on many issues. She was exiled to a remote research station for it. Jake paced, torn between the fear of exposure and losing Veyra and their child. Can we trust her? We have to try. Veyra's voice weakened. Her station is 2 days away. If we leave now. A sharper pain cut her off. Jake didn't hesitate, grabbing their pre-packed emergency bag. I'll prep the ship. Can you make it? Veyra nodded, her face drawn with exhaustion. Jake, if we're caught. He turned, cupping her face. We won't be. And if we are, we face it together. He pressed his forehead to hers, the Sylari gesture now second nature. I didn't desert and run across the galaxy to lose you. Veyra's patterns brightened slightly. Why are humans so sentimental? She teased weakly. Since this one fell for a Sylari scientist, he replied, helping her up. The confession hung in the air, the first time he'd said it aloud. Veyra's patterns pulsed in a new rhythm, rippling across her skin. Your timing's awful, she muttered as they headed out. Wait for a better crisis? Jake quipped. Despite the pain, Veyra smiled. Humans, always finding humor in peril. Her golden eyes turned serious. That sentiment. I feel it too. They moved through the colony's quiet streets toward the spaceport, the twin moons lighting their path. Contacting the past risked drawing both Earth and Sylari forces to them, but seeing Veyra's faltering patterns and feeling the baby's erratic movements, Jake knew they had no choice. The research station orbiting Alara 4 looked abandoned as Jake maneuvered the shuttle into its docking bay. The massive structure hung before a silver gas giant, its exterior lights dim. You sure she's still here? Jake asked, eyeing the station warily. Veyra nodded, her face pale with pain. Her patterns had fluctuated wildly during the journey, at times blindingly bright, at others nearly invisible. The automated system accepted my old access code. Someone's maintaining it. As they docked, Jake helped Veyra from her seat, nearly carrying her. The baby had barely moved in hours, heightening their anxiety. Stay behind me, Jake ordered as the airlock opened, his hand on his pistol. The station's corridors were silent, emergency lights casting long shadows as they headed for the main lab. Veyra guided them, each step visibly draining her. Almost there, she reassured as they reached a sealed door. The main lab has everything we need. Jake moved to access the control panel, but the door slid open on its own. A tall, gaunt Sylari woman stood in the threshold, her pale purple skin marked with swirling, constellation-like patterns across her face. I wondered when you'd arrive, Dr. Seeley's Varen said, her eyes immediately assessing Veyra's condition. Though I hoped it'd be sooner. Jake tensed, shielding Veyra. You knew we were coming? Of course. Seeley's gestured them inside. I've been tracking Sylari genetic signatures across the outer rim for months. Veyra's is distinctive. Inside the lab, Jake was stunned by its scale. The exterior suggested neglect, but the interior was a bustling hub of advanced medical equipment, and chambers housing hybrid embryos of various species. You're studying interspecies reproduction, Veyra realized, her scientific curiosity cutting through the pain. The future of galactic evolution, Seeley's confirmed, easing Veyra onto an examination table. Though none of my test pairs achieved what you two did naturally. A human Sylari hybrid nearing birth. Extraordinary. Jake frowned. Our child isn't a research subject. No, but it's unique, Seeley's replied, scanning Veyra's abdomen. And in danger. The hybrid cells are failing at the molecular level. She worked swiftly, administering compounds that steadied Veyra's patterns. This temporarily stabilizes the hybrid cells, but it's not a long-term fix. The conflict between human and Sylari DNA requires a more complex approach. What approach? Jake demanded, wary. Before Seeley's could answer, an alarm blared through the station. Security monitors lit up, showing a sleek, menacing Sylari ship approaching. We were followed, Jake realized, dread rising. Seeley's checked the ship's identifier, her face darkening. Kale. How did he find us? Veyra groaned, struggling to sit up. The same way I did, Seeley said. Your genetic signature grew stronger as the pregnancy advanced. To someone who knows what to look for, you're a beacon. Kale's ship docked before they could plan. Security cameras showed him walking alone, unarmed, through the corridors. Stay with Veyra. Jake ordered Sylari, drawing his pistol. I'll handle him. Wait. Sylari grabbed his arm. There's something you should know. Before she could elaborate, the lab door opened. Cale stepped in slowly, hands raised in peace. His eyes found Veyra, his expression unreadable. I'm not here to fight, he said softly. Then why are you here? Jake growled, keeping his weapon trained. To save them both, Cale replied, looking at Veyra. Sylari stepped forward. He contacted me 3 months ago, after tracking you from the outpost. You're working together? Veyra asked, her voice thick with suspicion and hurt. Not exactly, Sylari said. Cale provided data that advanced my interspecies reproduction research. Data on why hybrid pairings usually fail. Cale's cold facade cracked. Because I saw the consequences firsthand. What? Jake's aim didn't waver. My mother, Cale said quietly. She loved a Creathian warrior. When she became pregnant, the council ordered termination for study. She refused, went into hiding. The pregnancy failed in the 3rd month. She didn't survive. A heavy silence fell. Veyra's patterns flickered with mixed emotions. That doesn't justify your betrayal, she said. I needed Ecliptica's resources, Cale replied. The council would never fund the genetic research required. Ecliptica did, even if for weapons. You could have told me, Veyra said. Cale shook his head. You were too loyal to the council, Veyra. Another wave of pain made Veyra cry out, her patterns fading. Sylari quickly administered another compound. We're out of time, she warned. The stabilizers are losing effect. We need to proceed with the experimental procedure. What procedure? Jake demanded. Sylari and Cale exchanged a glance. A genetic harmonization technique. Sylari explained. Using advanced nanites to realign conflicting DNA segments in real time. It's experimental, Cale added. But it's the best chance for your child. Jake looked at Veyra, her golden eyes meeting his despite the pain. Can we trust them? He asked softly. Veyra squeezed his hand. We have no choice. Her patterns flared once. But remember that night in the tent, when you helped me remove my armor so I could breathe. Jake smiled, even on the edge of life and death. How could I forget? It changed everything. It did, she whispered. Everything. The procedure lasted 14 grueling hours. Jake paced outside the lab, catching glimpses of Sylari and Cale working with intense focus over Veyra's unconscious form. Nanites glowed beneath her skin, forming intricate patterns that shifted as they restructured the baby's genes. When Sylari emerged, her drooping patterns betraying exhaustion, Jake braced for the worst. They're both stable, she announced, a tired smile breaking through. The nanites successfully harmonized the conflicting DNA segments. The child's cellular structure is fully stabilized. Jake exhaled, his knees nearly buckling. Veyra's resting. The procedure was taxing, but her vitals are strong. Sylari softened. She's asking for you. Inside the lab, Veyra lay on the examination table, her platinum hair fanned out like a halo. Her patterns pulsed with renewed vitality, casting a soft purple glow across her pale purple skin. Her golden eyes lit up when she saw Jake. We did it, she whispered as he took her hand. Our child will live. Jake pressed his forehead to hers, the gesture now instinctive. Both of you will live, he corrected, voice thick with emotion. Cale cleared his throat from the corner. The nanites will monitor and adjust for another 48 hours. After that, the pregnancy should progress normally, with delivery expected in about 2 weeks, given the accelerated development. Sylari added, based on current rates. Jake turned to them, still grappling with trusting allies who were once enemies. Thank you both. Cale nodded stiffly, unaccustomed to gratitude. I've sent the procedure's success data to select contacts who can use it. What contacts? Jake asked, wary. Progressive factions in both governments. Sylari explained. There are those in the Sylari Science Council and Earth's diplomatic corps who quietly support closer ties between our species. Politicians, Veyra said, trying to sit up, her tone skeptical. Jake steadied her. Visionaries, Sylari's corrected. They see the future lies in collaboration. Your child is proof of what they've theorized for decades, that our species are fundamentally compatible. We're not turning our kid into a political symbol, Jake said firmly. You may not have a choice, Kale replied. Rumors have spread. My contacts at Ecliptica report that both Earth and Sylari intelligence have traced you to this sector. They'll be here in days. Jake's hand twitched toward his pistol. Then we leave now. No, Sylari's interjected. Running won't work anymore. My contacts have arranged a meeting with representatives from both governments, ones who want to protect, not capture. Why? Veyra asked, her scientific skepticism sharp. Because you've done what diplomats couldn't, Sylari said simply. Created living proof that humans and Sylari can build a future together. 3 days later, their shuttle approached the neutral diplomatic station Concordia, a shimmering structure suspended in the void, poised precisely between Earth and Sylari territories. Veyra sat beside Jake in the cockpit, her hand resting on her belly, patterns flickering with unease. Are we doing the right thing? She asked softly. Jake squeezed her hand. I don't know, but I'm tired of running. I want our kid to have a home, not a hideout. The diplomatic reception defied expectations. Representatives from Earth and Sylari stood side by side, bearing no arrest warrants but formal diplomatic proposals. Their unborn child was granted dual citizenship, a galactic first. Captain Sullivan. Commander Reynolds greeted, extending a hand. The Defense Force has officially classified your departure as a special diplomatic mission. Retroactively, of course. Convenient, Jake replied dryly, but shook his hand. The Sylari representative, Scientist Veldar, addressed Veyra with respect. The Council apologizes for policies that forced you to flee. Your research data has been secured and fully credited to you. Veyra's patterns pulsed with surprise. Your child will be honored as a bridge between our peoples, the representative assured. Not a research subject. The meeting transitioned to a private gathering. As officials discussed the unprecedented situation's implications, Jake led Veyra to a quiet observation deck overlooking the stars. Not quite how I pictured introducing you to my bosses, he joked, wrapping an arm around her waist. I didn't expect to introduce you to my people either, she replied, leaning into him. Her patterns glowed where they touched. Though I must say, humans keep surprising me with their adaptability. We're pragmatic, Jake agreed. Opportunistic but hopeful. He turned to face her. Speaking of hope, there's an Earth tradition I'd like to try, if you're up for it. Veyra looked at him curiously. What tradition? From his pocket, Jake produced a simple metal ring, shimmering with a purple hue matching her patterns. On Earth, when two people want to formalize their commitment, they exchange rings. It's called marriage. Veyra's patterns flickered rapidly, though she maintained her calm demeanor. What does this marriage entail? A promise, Jake said. To face everything together, raising our kid, navigating interspecies politics, or just deciding whose holidays to celebrate. Logical, Veyra remarked, but her patterns blazed with excitement. Sylari have a similar ritual, involving genetic profile exchanges and lineage merging. Is that a yes? Jake asked, grinning. Instead of answering, Veyra pulled him close, her lips finding his in a kiss that needed no translation across species. When they parted, her patterns glowed so brightly they lit the deck. I believe, she said softly. That's the correct human response. 2 weeks later, in a ceremony blending Earth and Sylari traditions, they formalized their bond before representatives of both worlds. 1 week after that, in a medical facility tailored to their unique situation, their son was born. A perfect blend of both, Jake's blue eyes, Veyra's platinum hair, and skin that shifted subtly between human tones and pale Sylari purple. They named him Orion, a new star in a changing galaxy. As Jake held him for the first time, marveling at the tiny patterns flickering across the boy's skin in rhythm with his touch. He thought back to that rainy night on Outpost Horizon. When Veyra asked him to remove her armor so she could breathe, either could have imagined where it would lead: a new life, understanding between peoples, and a love that transcended species. "What are you thinking?" Veyra asked from the bed, her patterns still radiant post-birth. Jake smiled, passing Orion into her arms. "I'm thinking sometimes the most important diplomatic missions start with the simplest requests." Veyra's golden eyes sparkled. "Like asking someone to help you breathe." "Exactly," he agreed, kissing her forehead.